and basically every other team is 1 and 3.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy, the discrepancy.
There's a bit of grouping going on, that's for sure. The Zoomers draft is looking like a 1 and 3 draft to me. I don't like the farm potential that's going to take to make Void and Wraith King viable damage-wise. I agree with a lot of the panel points. For Zoomers does do a lot of like swerving and stuff like this with their heroes in their drafts to do kind of wacky stuff, and potentially it gives them an advantage, but it's a little worrisome. On the bright side, Void against Dusa shouldn't be too bad to lane. If she hits you with a Monster Snake at some point, you just time walk it, so there's some offsets there. But I don't really like the strength of that dual lane. The Void plus Mirana, there isn't like a natural setup. Yeah, time dilation can be okay, but I don't know. It's weird.
Offlane Void has just looked so... I mean, not that we see it that much anymore, but like since those days when Universe was picking it, like since then it hasn't really looked that good.
It hasn't.
And they don't really have like Cataclysm. Like they have Pugna, which is good. They have Fireball from Dragon, but that's it, really.
Yeah. There's not a lot of damage follow-up there, all right. He needs a way to make the hero do something more. Because if he just goes right-click stuff, which is sometimes what you do with offlane Void, then it's going to take a long time for him to get items to actually do something with his right-click. And you can't usually do that because Dragonite, Dragonite is a little bit slow in the early game at times. Other than his tower pressure, Wraith King is in a similar situation as what Void is. He's waiting to get his damage items, and it's just going to mean no tempo from Zoomers unless Move finds a way to either win the lane a lot or transition into something like a Meteor Hammer, which would actually do damage. But I don't really know what he's going to do. Maybe he maxes time dilation to get more damage out of his skills without needing to right-click. We'll see.
TSM, on the other hand, panel talked about that. It's not just that 4 Zoomers draft is a little weird if you look at it, but TSM's lineup just looks extremely well-rounded. They got a lot of push. They have good magic and physical hybrid. They have their hard carry, Medusa, which seems to win every single game in this DPC.
It's good. It's
still a good hero, despite also being a very good hero in the last patch as well.
Nether Ward level 1 gets used again here. Prevents Coddle from using any spells. We saw Jarex do a similar thing with the support Pugna up against Coddle +1. Because normally Coddle's advantage is spamming waves. Here in this case, finally waits to use the spell until after the ward is gone.
Yep, Saberlight able to secure those last hits thanks to that giant-ass tail that he has equipped on the Sand King.
That's the only reason why.
That's right. Z-Freak playing the... I mean, I talk about this all the time. My favorite hero for him, which is Mirana. But I think the problem with Mirana right now is you literally pick her for the arrow, and that's kind of it. That's the biggest impact you have. Like, feels like back in the day, you can kind of like semi-carry with the hero. Back, like the old Ags, for example, was one of the main reasons. Yeah, that kind of get a lot of farm.
That build is really fun, but I mean, she's still a viable hero. That, like, she's got decent mobility. She's got disable follow-up, which is really effective. You know, chain stunning is incredibly powerful, so being able to guarantee somebody gets stunned for like 5 seconds is so great. But it's definitely really solid. But you do have decent damage amp. You're survivable without needing to buy defensive items. That part's kind of good. So you can get away with buying like a Spirit Vessel first, for example. That way you have offensive capabilities without being in a vulnerable position. So there's a mix of good things about it.
Like getting forced out of lane, but he'll pop the salve and be more than okay. No first blood as of yet. So, I mean, in terms of like the pace of the game, who does 4 Zoomers? Is it just the fact that they need to survive? I mean, we haven't really talked about their win conditions, I guess, but is it getting out of the laning stage? Is it just an inherent issue with the lineup going into the mid game as well, even if it is an even game?
I think their laning stage is going to be fine. That's not one of the weaknesses of having like 2 right-click cores. Laning stage is usually all right. It's usually when you start leaving lanes and doing other stuff that it becomes a problem.
Saberlight, they actually put down a sentry just to see him. Looks like that's going to be first blood going the way of 4 Zoomers. Nicely done.
So this is one good way to offset some disadvantages like this. Get some kills that you shouldn't have.
Oh my.
Carry. so carried.
So Gunner's pretty happy about that, it seems.
It's like, hell yeah. The best part is he gets to enjoy this moment for like 30 seconds instead of like 3, you know?
Yeah, so how long is this done? That's quite a lot. That was a pretty long arrow.
It's max 3.5 seconds done, but yeah, that looked like a monster one.
So that was the Dragon Tail into that. It's only Breathe Fire level 1. I mean, he should... Is he dead? I think he's dead, right? I don't think it's that close. He does have the bottle, that's true, with the Water Rune and Fairy Fire. I don't know, actually.
Z-Freak's level 1, right?
Yeah. 2. He has leap. So yeah, okay, so he does have leap.
I don't think it's going to matter. I mean, he's got brown boots, so not that much damage. I mean, either way, this is going to be a good amount of harassment. Leshrac will probably survive, but he will get low. He's got bottle charges from the water rune. We're a minute out from the next one. I think the worst thing that could happen is that, especially because he has more creeps on the Radiant side, after he gets super zoned, the creep wave is going to push a little bit towards Gunner, and then he'll just lose some last sets here.
Right. All right, let's see. Fairy Fire still has the bottle. We'll pop it, and we'll survive.
78 whole HP there. Easy. But yeah.
Now he has to worry about Mirana. I mean, again, Z-Freak on Mirana is a god. He's one of the best Miranas of all time. And if he can set up arrows without really needing that much to set himself up, he's going to go for another one here.
Trying to feel it out. When's the last time to throw it?
Yeah, but with the wave pushing, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But still, back in your mind, you're always worrying about this roaming Mirana.
Yeah, it can be a big worry, for sure.
So you talked about how some voids in the offlane kind of want to transition to a bit of a right click. What other kind of build can you go for these days?
Max time dilation sometimes is, it's probably not very viable, but it's like sort of the right realm of thinking because you're doing damage just by casting spells. It doesn't scale super incredible necessarily, and against the enemy heroes, it can be okay, but that's an option. Meteor Hammer is another classic build for offlane void.
Oh my god.
No, it really is, because you Chronosphere them, then you land a Meteor Hammer afterwards. The problem is Meteor Hammer was nerfed due to OD recently, so it does less damage to heroes.
Yeah,
so that build's less
thank
strong.
God for that, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, OD was a little bit too strong, certainly. So, yeah, that'd be another way to offset things a bit. But I assume he's just going to go, like, Treads plus Mask of Madness and, I don't know, Utility, BKB, or something like that. I assume it's just going to be the boring build. So like I said, laning stage, not so bad for right-click heavy builds like this. It's usually when heroes start moving from lane to lane that things feel really bad.
Right.
Because then you're not able to gank very effectively. It's hard to get these kills. Like, it's hard enough to gank with good stuns against pro teams. So if you also have a lack of disable or damage or burst or whatever, then it's just going to lead to you not getting as many kills as you want. Your opponents will end up playing faster or safer. And then they're probably just going to outfarm you in most cases.
Yep, a Z-Freak back towards the middle lane to see if he can land another arrow onto Bryle, but looks like he's going to potentially, puts down the ward. Maybe can snipe a courier here pretty soon. But that bottom lane, I mean, Moo is surviving. I mean, this isn't really a big kill lane. It's Abaddon Medusa. It's really just to make sure that Medusa can survive.
That's one cool thing about it, is that, like, even though his lane isn't supposed to go well, the fact that Z-Freak sets mid, if he can win the lane against Lesh and keep Lesh down, that's the hero that's supposed to rotate for TSM in the mid game, actually. Outside of, like, Saberlight with Blink Dagger type stuff with the Sand King. So if they can keep Bryle a little shut down, maybe get a first blood or a solo kill-ish type thing, that could be really good for 4 Zoomers and be a little bit of the offset that they need, while Moo also gets experience in gold.
Yeah, Gunner pressuring that mid tower with the first dragon form of the game. And we can see the discrepancy in just CS between the offlaner, Sand King 23-0, and Moo here 16-1. But the level, I mean, Moo is just getting, like you said, basically solo XP for the most part.
Yeah, he is. I mean, there's a lot of decent amount of denies, but the nice part is...
whoa, okay. Is that the last proc on the snake?
Yeah, something like that.
That is very unfortunate for Moo. Did not calculate that correctly.
He was about to jump because he realized it was a little bit rough, but yeah. Ends up hitting him before he gets it off, so that hurt. So yeah, they're getting more levels overall. After all the praise. They're getting more levels overall in that lane because Duba was level 3, Tomato's the same level as Moo was, but you know, if he just gets more levels, that's another thing that makes his hero more viable. It's like, okay, I don't have damage, but I'm going to get Chronosphere really early, and then I'm going to go somewhere with Chronosphere, I'm going to Chrono the Leshrac, he's going to get arrowed afterwards, and now that actually sounds like something good, you know? But now his 6 gets delayed a little bit, the stack gank's not necessarily going to happen. With that said, Zoomers is just about at a 1k gold advantage. We just saw it peak up and down, so they are doing slightly better in the laning stage right now.
Yeah, you can see the mid lane. Dragonite versus Lesh. It's about a 500 net worth lead for Gunner. So, of course, both heroes can push the lanes pretty well and pressure the tower. So I'm not sure either of them are going to get to one of those early towers. In the top lane, we're going to see the Burrow Strike into the Split Earth. That's going to secure a kill for TSM.
That's a great combo. One of the things that makes Leshrac really good is if you have a setup stun like that. So he just gets a Blink Dagger at some point mid-game. Sand King Burrow Strikes anybody, you follow it up, that guy dies almost always.
And having said that, Moon Meander playing the greedy Coddle, Pos 4, can always get good farm here. Dragon Tail into Arrow. That's another great setup.
Big mistake by Dubu there. He's not really a player that makes uncharacteristic mistakes like that. Maybe he thought Gunnar wasn't there still, but Z-Freak had already showed, so great chain stun there. The value of the follow-up arrow. Mu is level 6, though. Went for Ring of Health, Gloves of Haste here, so he can get his last hits and lane sustain.
I mean, right now, can you get... On a core hero, I guess you could kill Lesh if you position the chrono correctly with an arrow follow-up. His Saberlight is going to get found out here. The dust is still applied, and looks like he's going to drop.
Nice.
And Costabile gets credit for that one.
I mean, that lane's going really well also. Wraith King's, that's his second kill now. He's got the highest net worth in the game. His armlet's already finished. Can they kill Medusa with a chrono? Probably not.
No, not Medusa. But Lesh, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lesh they could definitely kill. It kind of depends how close Dubu is to saving him. I think that's why Dubu is living in the mid lane, primarily.
Dragon Tail, Arrow will be sacrificed by the creep.
Yeah, the only downside there is they kind of had to go for the stun when they could. Unfortunately, no Dragon Knight ulti, so they couldn't pick and choose the right one. Smoke partially broken there.
Immediately.
Just some of them. There's a smoked somebody right now, maybe. Nah, maybe not anymore. Dubu, what'd I say? Perfect. An invisible Abaddon.
Remember when Abaddon used to have a Photic Shield as the long-range spell versus Miscoil? That's when he was severely broken.
You just love talking about Dota things from literally 10 years ago.
It's
more than that, actually. It's really old.
I wouldn't say it's more. It was in Dota 2 for a little bit. So that's,
was it?
Yeah, it's less than 10 years. Is Husky going to get found out? Bryle with that Pulse Nova, it's going to be an easy kill. Z-Freak in the area, but not going to be able to do too much. But Costabile on the run. Okay, he gets the Wraithfire Blast. Looks like this will be the death of Bryle. So another value kill for Costabile, and they'll get Dubu as well.
That's cool. I like Costabile's build as well. Usually you max out the second skill pretty heavily, but he's actually going for a lot of his third, which means he's just doing way more damage than normal. More lane pressure is another really good symptom of that. And now look at their two cores. Gunner's 2-0 and 1. Wraith King's at 3 kills now, I believe. So everything's going really solid for Zoomers. Net worth is even, but if they take these gold advantages on two heroes that are way more farmed than you normally see them, the DK and the Wraith King, that means their mid-game timing is going to be so much stronger, even without having a Faceless Void offlane, who still has had okay net worth. It's not incredible, obviously, but considering the lane pivot they did for it, it's paid off.
It's Gunnar again, poking at the tier 1 tower. Do you not like nostalgia?
I do.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I like it.
You're a human being, aren't you?
I do. Of course I like nostalgia.
Okay, good.
Big fan.
But then again, a Photic Shield having long range was not. It's not really nostalgic.
Oh, is that
nostalgia is a positive.
When it cast it when it was really long range?
Yeah, it was long range.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Costabile. All right, Moonlight Shadow is there. They're going to see Bryle. There is the Wraithfire Blast into the arrow. Burrow Strike to try to save his comrade. Not going to happen. Instead, he's going to get crit down by Costabile. Like you said, that max level in crit.
That was
Mortal
a great
strike, very nice.
And great rotation by Gunnar. The fact that he was there also helped a huge amount, because then they get 2 kills. Offlane dies and the mid dies. And now this Lesh track feels like a big vulnerability. It's a well-rounded draft, but the rotation for Mirana, very effective. And frankly, we don't see that many like mid Mirana ganks these days. It's less common. Usually you stick your butt in your lane and you get these like stun follow-ups. So the fact that he was able to go mid and help give a nice gold advantage to Gunnar with that nice arrow he landed and the general pressure, it was pretty effective.
And now Costabile stealing some ancient creeps, adding insult to injury for TSM FTX. Saberlight has his Blink Dagger though, so might be able to set up a kill, but it's not going to be a surprise. He just showed mid. We'll see if they want to smoke or not, as that is quite a bit faster. That's okay. 2 minutes faster, is that right?
Well, which item?
For the Blink Dagger, I'm saying.
Yeah, he bought no other items is why, so it's definitely worth it.
Moon just barely able to get out of dodge, but this tier 1 tower will likely fall. Going to be abandoned by TSM.
Bit unfortunate they used Dragon Knight ulti for it, that'll hurt, but the tower is without a doubt going to be killed. The tower they killed in the offlane was pretty nice though. That's going to make it a little bit harder to Roche control for TSM. It also means that if they are tri-camp jungling on a hero like Medusa, they have more exit and entry paths as the Zoomers to go pressure there. So let's see if he gets done.
Oh, Blink Dagger from Gunnar. Dragon Tail arrow again, but there's the Aphotic Shield to take everything off, and Bryle wants to turn this around, but Moo comes in with the Chronosphere onto 2, and this is going to be the death of Bryle yet again. Dubu level 7, So he will survive thanks to that ultimate as the Burrow Strike from Saberlight comes to fruition, but not sure they'll be able to follow this up with much more. Well, the Illuminate into Burrow Strike, that's going to be enough. Moose sticking around a little bit too long. Life Drain from Husky. And it looks like that'll break things up. So a lot of back and forth.
It's a great chrono. And a great setup.
Burrow Strike, I don't think they're going to be able to do much.
Except body block him infinitely. Holy crap. I don't think he's going to get out of there. But once again, they're doing a great job linking up Gunnar and Z-Freak. That's been the star of the show so far, that they're able to really make the Mirana feel super value. And even though Abba was still there, the nice rotation from Moo gave them a good fight. They do have Glyph here. That'll stop the first Edict.
And they are smoked up. But here comes the Moonlight Shadow. Burrow Strike onto Husky. Illuminate after the Decrepify, so that's amplified damage. He is donezo. Photic Shield takes off the stun onto Saberlight, so he'll be just fine. Yeah, the positioning for Dubu this game, I mean, that's the one thing that you just can't do much about, it feels like. Like, they do have Blink Daggers now, still, but you don't want to ever initiate on Abaddon.
You don't. And if you, well, in some ways, it's if you can get like an Orchid or disable him with something else, it would be okay while you kill another guy, but they don't really have the best tools for that. The Aphotic Shield is so good in this game because of all the disables that the Zoomers are using. But Zoomers do have some counterplay. Wraith King ulti is going to help them offset some of the team fight burst that TSM throws out. Nether Ward is going to be really good at reducing the overall damage being dealt due to magic from TSM. He's got, I believe, 3 points in Nether Ward already, probably going to be maxed out soon. Just TSM was able to take that tower because the Chronosphere and the other team fight stuff got used in the last fight. So, and I do like that Moo's maxing out time dilation here, second, because trying to rely on right click is just simply not going to work.
Yeah. Now we're going to see the Dragon Tail top lane from Gunnar. Saberlight should be able to burrow TP. Arrow not going to be there this time for Z-Freak. And everybody now queuing up their respective shards, as is the meta now. Yeah. As Husky, I think, gets off his life drain, but is likely going to drop to this Pulse Nova from Bryle. And Dubu's still in the area, but nobody even wants to attack him. Instead, they're going to go for Moon Meander on that Keeper of the Light.
Was able to get Leshrac to run away at least. So, still a very even game. Zoomers are linking up
It
better.
is an even game. Who does that benefit, though? Because it feels like 4 Zoomers were winning, but they really weren't winning that much. You know?
Yeah, they were not winning that much. They got the outer towers, which is really good. They haven't gotten the mid tower just yet, but I think they're doing fine on their side. It's a little bit scary because you got to worry about Dusa going into the late game, obviously, but their cores are also doing great. Dragon Knight's doing above average. The Leshrac is way below average in terms of net worth. So is Sand King. So like they've got decent stuff going for them in this draft right now in their current game positioning. Another cool thing, Leshrac going to have Bloodstone first for spell lifesteal, but the problem is that if you don't do as much damage, you don't spell lifesteal as much either. So Pugna, again, a counter to that. It's like it's effectively like having a Shiva's. He's doing 25% less damage, he's getting 25% lifesteal. So if they start itemizing for anti-healing as well, it's going to be a pretty good counter to Lesh. But Dusa is definitely still an issue, and definitely still worrisome, because they don't really have mana drain or super traditional stuff. Chain Stone Eater is obviously a great counter. Burst her down, drain her mana, but Abba's going to cover her, so still a good position too for TSM.
Yeah, Bryle pretty close to that Bloodstone. Then on the Medusa for Tomato, he has his Manta and can afford an Ultimate Orb as part of the incoming Scotty, and you can see the Deso now has been online for a bit for Costa Bile, so already working towards his BKB.
So that's going to be another good thing for Zoomers, is that now he can start just killing supports. If he wants to jump in the fight, kill Coddle, or even like slap Dubu once or twice, break his ulti, then Dubu actually has to start playing carefully. And if it's just like one crit in a fight to drop him below 40% or whatever it is, that's going to be really cost effective for Zoomers, and means they won't necessarily have to force these fights where like Abba ulti's active during Chrono, saving people. They can poke and prod a little bit. Because TSM is a little bit weaker right now in terms of net worth on the important heroes. If Lesh was more survivable, had BKB at a good timing, we'd have a different story here.
Now that the Bloodstone's online, 4 hero smoke from TSM, but 4 Zoomers positioning themselves pretty decently to not be in too much of a peril here. They'll get the combo off onto Abaddon, force out that ult. He's going to heal up as a result. See if they want to go any further. Tomato Still has his ult to work with. There's the move with the Chronosphere. Connects onto 2. They will take out Dubu in all likelihood. He actually dies to the Nether Ward. That is very unfortunate for him. Goes to Bele, still with that second life to work with, so... And he's actually getting life drain from afar. They're going to focus on Leshrac inside that Fireball as well. 2 down for TSM as 4 Zoomers. All they get is that Reincarn. And they're going to continue on. Saberlight on the run, perpetually slowed thanks to this time dilation. That's going to be the 3rd death. Make it 4. Beautifully done from 4 Zoomers.
That was such a cool fight, actually. All right. Jumping in, using low-impact spells to proc Abba ulti. Then when they re-engage there, yeah, like you said, he dies to the shield. Then Moo jumps in super long distance, gets the chrono. They throw all their nukes to kill Abba, basically. Time dilates, jumps back out again. And then Gunnar did a great job. Wraith King did a great job messing with Sanking. Watch Sanking on the back on the upper right here. He's thinking about doing his ulti. After they kill Dubu, Wraith King gets in there, and the AoE fire from Gunnar actually is going to interrupt the Blink Dagger, or interrupt the blink from Sanking. So in about 3 seconds, all this cool stuff I'm talking about happens. Saberlight goes to the right, his blink gets interrupted a little bit, then he channels ulti about here. And at this point, look at this, he's taking damage, can't blink in, whole epicenter completely wasted, which means he has to burrow strike to just try to survive. Moo jumps in, gets back out, and now just time dilation cleans up the rest of the fight.
Was he in Nether Ward range still? That was like, must have been on the outer edges.
He was at first when he ended the first skirmish, but once he channeled his ulti, he was not. So the fact that the AoE fire actually caught him there with the Wraith King ulti slow, it just completely took his damage out of the team fight. So it made it really straightforward. Gunnar also gets a Nether Shawl, great item in this game context. Tons of magic damage from TSM. He can definitely lose 3 armor. Just gonna really help him survive before BKB, which is sometimes a timing issue for Dragon Knight.
Very good skill picking up that item in the neutrals.
Yes, very well planned.
And Moo, going back to his itemization, Ring of Health is going to be turned into a Lincoln Sphere.
That's an interesting one, all right.
So, I mean, it blocks Burrow, right? Which it doesn't make any sense, by the way. Like, if you single target, I understand, but if it's just, if you're clicking on the ground, that should not block.
It's because you can single target and click on the ground, that's why.
But what about Impale from Lion?
Impale will also be dodged by Lincolns, I believe.
Okay. I always found that weird.
I don't know if Nyx Assassin Stun does anymore, because that one you can't click on.
Can't, yeah.
That would be the difference maker. But it's kind of a cool idea. He's doing utility stuff. He knows he's not going to carry. His Wraith King's doing well. His Dragonite has decent items and will eventually become very strong. Like, he doesn't need time lock levels. He just wants to be survivable, land good disables, jump in, time dilate the whole freaking enemy team. And then in these, like, 20-second fights, their opponents get, like, half the spells they normally do. Massively decreases their damage. As long as their team can survive through, like, the first wave of spells, then that means they should be able to outlast and out-team fight them. And that, on top of, like, Nether Ward, is cool in theory.
Burrow strike from Saberlight, not able to land. Has his shard avail? I mean, we haven't really seen a clean fight from TSM with the, like, Blink, Burrow, Epi.
It's hard. You have to have vision advantage, and if they do go in, they have to make sure they have enough stuns ready to go on any of these heroes. You can't just pick off Wraith King and run. That's not very effective now. You can maybe do it on Void, but if he gets Time Walk off, the gank's over. So you basically need, like, Sand King, who's a little bit behind, so he's not as good at solo killing. And you need, like, Leshrac nearby. That's, like, the weakness of TSM's draft. They're actually not very good offensively. They're more of a defensive draft.
Yeah, that's true. Tomato now has a Scotty, though, so those stats are kind of insane for this hero. Very cookie-cutter build, of course, but very, very difficult to take out.
And the slow will be good, too. Anti-regen against Wraith King, against Dragonite, whoever Pugn is healing, those are all going to be really effective. But here comes the fight. Smoke from 4 Zoomers. Gunnar's got his ultimate active. He is level 18, I believe. I think that was a blue dragon.
Yeah, looks like one.
Not.
Not.
It's a red
Looks
dragon,
not
obviously.
like one. There's the combo we've seen all game, and that leads to another death for Saberlight.
And that was his ulti ending as well. So value.
Saberlight, look at his net worth. That is position 4-esque.
Yeah.
But then again, they do have Coddle, which will reap the rewards for something like that.
Let's see if they'll get away with this.
Yeah, Roche attempt. They are getting scanned, but yeah, TSM not very close.
They're not the fastest Roche squad, certainly.
Oh, they're going to smoke up, though. They don't have the initiation of
It's going to be close.
the Sand King. And Roshan getting quite low. They're going to Moonlight Shadow a little preemptively to prepare for this upcoming fight. The Tornado Yules, I should say. Oh, they're going to arrow it as well into the Wraithfire Blast. Does have Stone Gaze to work with. Already his mana is getting drained to a high degree. Will have to pop his ult, the Chronosphere onto 2, so he can't actually get to the high ground. We'll have to reposition to the other side. Mu repositioning himself twice. There's the reverse time walk. There's the Burrow Strike from Saberlight, and Mu will regret his decision this time around. Focusing on the Abaddon again, and they'll find him, but it's going to cost the Aegis. As 4 Zoomers continue on, a second life for Costabile will be proc. Tomato completely out of mana, but you can see the Burrow Strike Epicenter doing massive damage now. They're going to be able to clean up Gunnar in all likelihood, but the stun onto Brow, this might cost him his life. Nope, able to maneuver himself to the high ground again and into safety. So 2 alive for TSM, 4 Zoomers lose Aegis, and a couple cores as well.
That was a really good fight for them, considering that Dragonite ulti was on cooldown as well. I really liked the Chronosphere, actually. It looked really good at first, but what it actually accomplished was it helped offset Medusa's ulti. That's usually like a team fight moment where the Medusa team is like very easy to win. But look, they lock down the back line. There's nothing to follow up. The rest of the team just runs in circles a little bit. So trading like an off-lane Void Chronosphere for a hard carries Medusa ulti is fine. Mu does end up dying. Gunnar does use ulti, excuse me. But he gets aggressive here. They end up killing Dubu. Costabile fights for quite a while here. Gets some decent damage in before he dies, saves BKB till after his respawn. As a whole, really effective. Z-Freak running for his life in the real game.
Yep, he sure is. And TPing out will be fun. Ooh, that was close. He is working on an Aghanim setup. What do you think of Mirana Ags?
It's okay. Considering the fact that you want to sit back most of the time, it's going to add damage, right? You're adding a 300 damage nuke, plus a little bit extra.
Right, we talked about the old Ags, which was the passive Starstorm, which was better
really
for like
fun.
farming.
And way better solo killing.
But it's a
too.
different like play style, right?
It is, yeah. But the play style that he's playing is he is very much so the damage follow-up. He can do Yule setups as well if he wants to. But just imagine a Chronosphere. He lobs the arrow in, gets some arrow hit, add 300 damage. They do need more damage as a squad. Again, their Faceless Void is doing very little damage, surely. Time dilation's okay, but that's it. It's basically just time dilation. So adding more damage through an Ags, I think, is fine this game.
And imagine when he gets that shard on Mirana Purge. My goodness, the
leap in 3 times.
That ability from Sagan, is it Sagan? It's not Nova, right? Yeah, Sagan's leap path. Yes, very good, very good shard.
Does it say Sagan? Even
100. It does say Sagan's leap.
What if you
upon landing, launches a projectile along Sagan's leap path, dealing damage and slowing units effective. They reworded this. It used to say something weird.
Maybe Spring Cleaning worked.
Yeah, I think so. Very nice.
Looks like Wraith King wants to get a Scotty this game, so even more anti-healing against the enemy squad. Okay. Again, it's solid. Good against Leshrac, who has a Bloodstone. Good against whoever Caudle's healing or Abba's healing. So that's pretty sick. I like it. Slow against Medusa is going to be incredible too. You'd be a little bit kited normally because he has Scotty, but if you have Scotty, he gets more slow than you do. So now Medusa is only going to be able to run away during Chronos or during Stone Gaze. So the game's looking pretty good for Zoomers.
Yep, not too shabby at all. 3K net worth lead. They might lose a tower here, as the Sange Kaya now picked up by Bryle. And you can see that his farm about 1,000 behind his mid counterpart in Gunnar.
Yeah. Definitely not where you want to be on a Leshrac, but Zoomers did such a good job ganking him at the early and mid parts of the game. And he is a little vulnerable. Even if he gets the stun removed, there's still just... Lesh is a little bit of a raw HP squishy hero, and Abba can't really offset tons of damage. It's more of like a stun type thing is usually where the hero excels.
Up Costabile with the Moonlight Shadow will get the initiation off to start as the Fireball is there as well, but Tomato is going to be forced out. A big time dilation by Mu. Looks like they should be able to kill off Dubu. Can't even get the ult off. Just get crit into oblivion. Tomato has to use Stone Gaze, but here comes the Burrow Epi into the Split Earth potential, not even needing it. Pulse Nova is more than enough to kill off another member of 4 Zoomers. So it's a 3-for-1 if you count that reincarnation, but now Gunnar with the BKB, Costabile getting kited. Tomato trying to find the kill onto Gunnar. This would be a pretty big turnaround for TSM. That's 4 dead, and Costabile with no ultimate available. This is going to be a full team wipe after what looked like a good start to the fight for 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, I felt like that at first, but thinking back how it went, they started with an invis hit on Medusa, doing literally no damage because most of it went to her arm or to her mana. And then after they chased the first death on Wraith King, they had a moment like, oh yeah, we can go and we can hit a little bit. They start slapping Leshrac, but Leshrac just didn't take that much damage. And sure, they killed Abba, and yeah, they killed Sand King, but they're going to lose their tier 2 tower as a result.
Finally, Saberlight able to get a good ult off as well. That was the big turnaround as well for that fight.
He managed to help kill Void there, which was a big one. They got no Chronosphere out of the fight, which they would have loved to have. They have Chronosphere, maybe they catch Leshrac, kill him instead of him barely surviving. I didn't see how Husky died either, but...
Lots of TPs coming in. Of course, Moo has that Chrono, like you said, available. One TP canceled, though, so Saberlight will not find the Burrow Strike here.
2 tier 2 towers lost from that team fight. Now the net worth has swung in a big way.
That was like a 7K turnaround.
It was really big.
So TSM back in the driver's seat. And we're looking at the next Roche. We won't know for another 2 minutes when that'll spawn. Of course, TSM's lineup is, I mean, I guess Abaddon's okay for taking Roche, but that's about it. Until Medusa gets a lot more damage.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, here we have a still picture of...
Okay, that's them starting the fight. This is Void, or sorry, Abaddon's dying. Then they go for more chase, thinking this is going to be great. Unfortunately, despite being in the trees, they just read the Void so well there. They stunned him in the trees, very well played by Bryle there, immediately after him getting Stone Gaze too. And they did a good job disabling Medusa while they hit Bryle a bit, but he's really fast here. No Scotty finish just yet for Costa Vila. If they have it, maybe they kill Bryle there. But he ends up staying alive, no problem. They end up cleaning up. The 2 highest damage heroes, highest utility heroes on TSM's live, so...
Yeah, this Spear Vessel is just owning 4 Zoomers as well. Excellent item for both respective teams, in fact.
I almost wonder if Face's Void should have had like a cloak or something. I don't know if he would have lived in that fight necessarily, but there's been a couple too many times now where he just does eventually get focused and they do kill him. So I wonder if increasing his survivability, just like Quelling Blade is kind of good or whatever for juking, hiding in trees, getting good chronos maybe, but 15% extra survivability against magic damage for like a bracer cost is real value. So
I'm still trying to understand this Lincoln Sphere.
Burrow
Strike.
He doesn't want to get chain stunned.
That's it. Just Burrow Strike.
And it could be on his allies
Mist Coil. What's
yeah,
that?
Sure.
Yeah, you can put it on your ally.
Exactly. Allies too. Lightning Storm. 200 damage.
I mean, it just doesn't feel like...
It's a little... I mean...
He's going for Ags next as well, which is interesting considering it's... I mean, when you pick that up as a core, like a position 1 or something, it's going to be a little bit later, but you're going to see the initiation on the Moon Meander. This is going to be an easy one for 4 Zoomers.
Ooh, and an easy gem now too.
Oh, yeah.
I almost wonder if it should have been like a pipe instead of a Lincoln's. That might have been cool, but he did have Ring of Health earlier, right? So he's like, I can't waste this money. I got to build it into something.
Efficiency.
There's another one, another Ring of Health.
So if it was me, it would have been a Battle
there
Fury.
It is. There it is. There's the hood.
Okay.
He's realizing he's got Dota Plus. He's looking into his upper left. He's like, I'm taking 80% magic damage. Maybe I should get a hood. And once he gets pipe, then this shit makes a lot of sense. He's got massive survivability. It's going to be very difficult for them to even stun him initially to start the fight. So that's going to make put him in a really good spot. God, that range is insane how far that is.
Yep.
Wow.
That shard is, I mean, the reverse time walk is kind of cool. Like, it's situationally good. But it's really the range is what you get this for. It's crazy.
I think the reverse time walk's way better on like an offlaner though, because he's not so much like carries always want to go in, pretty much always, right? You got to walk in, you got to hit people. But offlaners, it's like choosing when to use your spells. You can scout, you can go high ground, you can hide in trees to jump later, you can jump in time dilate and back up. That's like already using your value in some ways. So I think it accomplishes a lot more.
And if he goes for Ags, I mean, it doesn't. The proc of the bash doesn't work on the reverse portion, but you can just kind of use it as a pseudo poke.
Yeah. That could be decent.
Which is kind of cool.
It's got a Scotty finish, by the way. So next fight, keep an eye on Costa Vila. See what heroes he targets. He's probably going to be aiming for Dusa or Lesh. Lesh is the easier kill, and he's way less survivable. So almost always you're going to target Lesh or supports. We'll see. Zoomers are going to force the fight here. Level 20 Gunner.
Roshan is available, and Moo on the high ground. He's going to deward immediately. Time walk to the low ground. His initiation on a Saberlight, but he's going to get saved thanks to that Lotus Orb. And Bryle, all right, the Yule's being used as Dubu doesn't really get much HP back from his ult as the Nether Ward placed on the high ground. And Gunnar has the Aghanim Scepter, so that is the Black Dragon, despite looking golden right now. Split Earth.
This is Moo's Hill. Get out of here.
How many wards were dewarded there, including the Nether ward?
2 plus that sentry, or 2.
Okay.
But that was pretty sick by Moo. And he can't do this without like Lincoln's Hood. It's a little dangerous, right?
Yeah.
But he just controls the cliff. He's the Harpy Scout, basically, with the Lincoln Sphere.
Oh, that's a pretty expensive version of Harpy Scout. As Costabile jumps in, gets Burrow Strike, but they're going to find the Abaddon right off the bat. And that's a dead Sand King as well. So just like that, it's a 5 versus 3. And Tomato has to pop the BKB along with the Stone Gaze, focusing on the Nether Warp. It's going to get decrept. Bryle, in the meantime, he's going to get taken out in all likelihood, as Costabile's second life is going to come with a vengeance here. 3 dead. TSM now on the run. And Moon Meander looks to be next on the list. And this is going to be a Roshan on top.
Dude's got a Lincoln, so it's going to take him quick.
He's got more people coming, don't worry.
30 seconds
Arrow.
till death.
I mean, Z-Freak doesn't miss arrows.
Z-Freak is a god, bro. Holy shit. He really doesn't.
And Tomato, he'll be the lone survivor. Oh, he's actually going to get this kill? No. Has the Silver Edge to be able to break. And Roshan is available for the pickin'. Has the shard available. Who doesn't have shard at this point? Wraith King, kind of meh. DK has his. Marana.
Pugna, maybe?
What does Pugna's do again?
The split shot Nether Ward.
That is, I mean, it's probably terrible, but it sounds cool.
You could use it to kill illusions, I think. Like, you could kill Medusa Manta a little bit easier, but yeah, they're going to give it to Pugna.
All right, hell yeah.
All right. I think it increases cast range of Nether Ward as well.
Yeah, by
right?
350.
Yeah, that alone is really amazing, genuinely, because I've seen some people have experimented with Shard over getting Aether Lens first.
I mean, he has Aether Lens as well, so when you use it on your ward, it'll split shot, but it'll use your cast range as well, so that's actually kind of crazy.
We hover over the Nether Ward, show the range of it with his, yeah, look at this. He can put his Nether Ward basically anywhere on the screen.
Yeah.
With his little headdress. Little
Very
psychic
nice.
headband, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and he has the Psychic Headband.
yeah, you can put that on cliffs is generally the best thing to do. That's another reason why it was so powerful that Moo was controlling the cliff there. They put Nether Ward up there, their opponents just can't see it. They have to deal with that 25% less damage against all these tanky heroes. The Scotty was a big deal in that last fight too. Once he got on top of Bryle, it was clear that Bryle was not going to be able to get away. He's going to need like a Ghost Scepter, an Axe, Force Staff. He needs to be able to get some separation between himself and Wraith King from hitting him. And it's hard. His net worth is so far behind where it should be because Zoomers have been playing so well. He just hits an Invis here with an arrow. What the hell?
I mean, it's Z-Freak, bro. What can I say? He's just been begging for this hero to come back into the meta. And he's using it to a very good degree here. Has the Yule's Ags, will be going for Blink, it looks like. So that just shows how bad that shard is. He still is not going for it.
I mean, he doesn't want to go in melee range, that's all. Once he gets Blink, maybe.
All right, the Blink initiation from Gunnar. They're going to focus on the Abby again. Dubu, finally with the borrowed time arrow. This time will not connect. It just needed a Force Staff to dodge. Now they can focus Dubu again if they really want to. Moo.
He's got Ags on Dragonite. His magic resistance is huge now. Remember, this is most of the stuff that they're dealing with. It says 39 right now. I don't believe that.
It used to be 40% magic resistance. I think it's 20 now for Ags, right?
Yeah, but he's still got the Nether Shawl as well. It says 25 actually, so.
This is going to be a tier 2 tower in all likelihood. I mean, the high ground defense is pretty strong for TSM. You have Coddle, you have the Split Earth Shard from Lesh, and obviously the initiation from Sand King. This is just, even with some sort of, like, the 4K lead's not that big right now. Even if it was a little bit bigger, they still have some trouble going high ground.
It's a close match. This is looking good for Zoomers, I gotta say. But
oh my god, this Z-Freak is like god!
Holy shit.
Moon Meander's face. Can't believe, I mean, he can believe. He's played with him on Complexity.
Oh, please. Okay.
All right, the Yules onto the Lotus. That should ensure that Moon eventually dies, surely. And Moo takes credit for that one, but Z-Freak, in our hearts, we know that was you, buddy. Costabile BKB TP. Looks like he's fine.
Okay, got caught. Bought the overall main Blink. Another nice slow and nuke to start things off for the fight for him. I think that'll be really nice. So you were talking about how good the high ground defense for TSM is. It is really strong, but they've got pretty good ways to solve that problem. Chain stuns, Chronosphere, Nether Ward's going to offset some of the damage when the fight does begin. I think that's all really, really important.
Yep, and they can poke from pretty far away. Obviously, DK ult is going to be the main, and Nether Blast, the main ways to damage it. Is Butterfly now online?
Interesting timing to buy it, but it is a lot of right click. So Butterfly is a really good way to stay survivable for him. It's a 60% slow, by the way. I think once you get the Black Dragon, it is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Ags on Void. He wants
All right,
the bash.
move. There's the bash, and now he can reset. And it's a pretty low cooldown on Time Walk, so it can just do that over and over and over.
Look at this range. Gunnar with the extra range from his talent.
Costabile has the overwhelming blink now, by the way.
They're just going to cheese the damn thing.
Yep, it'll drop eventually.
I mean, he's getting the corrosive damage too. That gets amplified by an extra 50%. He's so far back. He's very individually tanky. He's got BKB if things get really bad. They've got Nether Ward to slow things down. Ooh, see?
Oh.
Got him.
Nice. And the Nether Ward eventually cleaned up.
But that was pretty safe sieging. I mean, he's got Aegis. That was just his ultimate.
How long do we have on Aegis? So it's only 30 seconds. So didn't want to commit too hard, it looks like.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And obviously next Roche won't be up for a little bit, but that'll be the Ags or Refresher Shard Roche.
Moon has done a good job pressuring out these side lanes with his BOTs. The problem is that all he's sieging with is creeps. Like, hypothetically, they could do some backdoor shenanigans. Like, Leshrac could teleport as well, but normally I'd be more afraid of this if, like, they had a core that's, like, amazing at backdooring or sieging buildings. And they don't quite have that outside of
Double
Lesh.
overwhelming blink.
Incredible. You just got to nerf.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Just got to nerf the green one enough to justify buying.
Yeah, it took 3 patches for that,
Yeah.
that item to finally go away. Of course, we do see it from time to time. All right, we're going to have a potential fight here. Z-Freak has to use a couple of his leaps. Imagine if he had Shard, he'd be able to damage nothing there. His arrow is going to connect on the Sand King. Saberlight, there's a Chrono onto 2 as well. This is going to be 2 high-value kills if they're able to clean things up. Is Costabile getting kited, though? So 4 Zoomers looking to reset a bit as Gunnar comes in from the side, gets off the stun onto Medusa. Tomato still has the ult to work with, holding on to it finally. No, he's still not using it. Looks like Costabile is just going to drop of his own accord as Husky trying to do some damage, heal up Gunnar to a little bit here as Costabile finally go. Oh my god, the crit again. That's a dieback on the Abaddon. And onto the high ground we go, but DK getting extremely low and Gunnar will drop in the split earth. Not going to do too much there as Husky on the run, but will drop shortly after. So it's a 3 for 2 with the dieback on Abby. And Moo, he's not done yet.
He should be. What's he going to do?
He just wants to bash. He wants to make everybody know that this was a good purchase. All right. It does block Yules as well. We missed that one, along with the Burrow.
True.
Which helps.
Oh,
all right.
I thought that one was going to hit for sure.
Moo is just too good for
Snake
for this game.
Blocks the snake.
True. Does he have Ags on Medusa?
No.
So it doesn't really matter.
I actually cannot believe, like, I thought Moo's just doing one of those things where you're like, oh, well, I could do this annoying thing. Is it good? It actually was good there. Look how much time
He's not done
they
yet,
got.
Purge.
Like, that actually just distracted TSM for like 20 to 30 seconds there, extra, while his teammates were dead. So, was not that bad. They weren't hitting creeps instead.
Ooh, double damage Tomato. They can't really kill Tomato right now. They don't have an MKB, which I assume... Okay, it's going to be a Bloodthorn for Costabile.
Okay. I like that a lot, actually. It's very good against Leshrac as well. Give him the slap, less damage, less lifesteal. Not too many other people do large spell damage. I mean, if you slap like Sand King with it, it can be really good. But more magic resistance is solid too. It'll make his first life go a lot longer.
Of course, he does have Manta to take that off.
Yeah.
But you wait for Manta. Is he
talking about
keeping...
Dusa?
Yeah. He's not going to keep the Stormcraft. I was going to say that could be a potential second dispel if he really wants, but...
It's more of a Lesh item.
Yeah, for sure.
If he wants to use it.
And there's the Bloodthorn.
It's done already. Okay. And if not him, maybe somebody else. Slap that baby on Abba. He'll die quick.
But then what do they do about this? But do they just ignore Medusa until they have the MKB?
I mean, you can just decrep him
Yeah,
do
just kite.
halberd type stuff is an option. They aren't really in a position where they need halberd because they're doing okay against Dusa in the fight, I feel like. It's more like they need to kill the other 4 heroes and then Dusa is easy to deal with.
All right, big juicy smoke as Gunner's going to jump in with that overwhelming blink. Arrow connects onto Saberlight again. He is out of the fight at the beginning as the Bloodstone is popped to try to get some spell lifesteal. Looks like it's going to be enough for Bryle to waddle away. Meanwhile, Tomato is literally unkillable. Dubu not so much though. He gets chrono. Beautiful chrono. Now Husky just on the edge, able to life drain Tomato. Pops the BKB, but you were already too low. And now Bryle looks to be taken out next. What a fight from 4 Zoomers, 4 dead with basically nothing lost.
Wow, that was such a big engagement. Killing Dubu right at the start of things changed a lot. Once Mirana ulti kicked in, it felt like TSM lost vision control for a moment there. Jump in, Saberlight's, this stun that Gunner hit was so important. Saberlight would get his ultimate off probably afterwards. He dies instantly. Dubu's gonna die real fast as well. Bryle in the backline just gets cleaned up more or less by Wraith King. See right there, Kostubile stopped being hit. Tomato eventually man fights him to death, but the chrono with the follow-up, perfect positioning. And they have Gunner on the top attacking too and lowering Tomato's damage. Just really, really well done. Bryle gets cleaned up. And now they're just killing buildings in the live game.
Indeed, they took out the full mid racks. Now they're working on top. They should be able to get this uncontested. The question is, will they stay for more? Kostabile's already running down there. Overwhelming blinks. And this is where TSM is going to have to try to hold. 30 seconds on Medusa. Does have buyback. We'll see if he ends up getting forced to expend it. Is Gunner dragon form again? These buildings are going to melt. He's going to have to buy back if they don't want to give up mega creeps. Looks like they're resigned to try and defend against the mega creeps. So they're going to wait for the spawn the old natural way.
It makes sense, right? Like, I mean, you could hypothetically buy back there, Dusa, take the fight, see if you win it, but Lesh wasn't going to be alive. That winning a 4v5 against some of their ultimates, less likely to work than going into some mega creep situation. Because again, Dusa is good at megas. This gives them more opportunity to take 5v5s, to have buyback saved, things like that. So it makes some sense, certainly.
And again, this is only game 1, of course, but pretty big implications for both respective teams. The Kostabile able to get the Wraithfire Blast onto Tomato, who happens to pop the BKB. You can see Mu just trying to kite a bit. And speaking of kiting, Gunner getting kited there. Looks like they're all going to reset, though. Of course, 4 Zoomers don't have to really force the issue, necessarily.
Yep. I mean, that's BKB on Dusa. They just did a little poke there. They could hypothetically Roche. I don't know if they realize it's up. They're maybe more interested in making sure that TSM doesn't gain control of the Tri-Camp area, which is very important for Roche control. If 4 Zoomers live here, they push out top lane, they push out mid lane, and at some point they can go dip into Roche, and it looks like they're doing that now.
Yep, and this will be a refresher shard Roche.
Who needs just a little bit more bold to finish his Hex here. That's what he's doing. But yeah, they're
refresher
in the
orb on Wraith King. Okay.
Not the worst.
Wraith King's not going to take anything, it looks like. So Aegis for Gunner. Mu takes the cheese. And where did the refresher shard go?
Pugna maybe? Double Nether Ward? No? Mirana.
A double Moonlight.
Quad 6 leaps, dude. How do you say 6?
That's
no, it's not hit. Who took it? For real? Oh, okay, it's on void. That 2 Chronospheres does make.
I mean, imagine refresher shard Mirana with shard. How much?
8 leaps, 150 times 8.
My goodness. Oh, okay. Divine
damage.
Rapier has been purchased. Obviously, I don't know if you want to call it a Hail Mary. It is kind of a normal-ish item for Medusa to grab, but
definitely a bit of a Hail Mary here. But, you know, they're mega creep. This is the situation. But this is a big moment. No team has probably killed more than 0 barracks, I think, against TSM so far. I feel like, I don't know if they've been Araxed yet.
That's probably true.
In this league. Certainly have never been on the losing side. They haven't lost a single game yet, quite sure. So, big moment for Zoomers here.
Yeah, and if Zoomers end up winning this and potentially the series, this has huge implications for TSM because we all just expected that not 4 Zoomers, but the other 2 teams in Quincy Crew and EG to be able to do just fine as Gunner. Jumps
Good
in,
arrow.
but there's the Chronosphere onto only one, but it is the Medusa with that Rapier.
Oh, he's
double
low.
Chronosphere. Life Drain continuing to go. Tomato not able to do literally anything. Pops the BKB, trying to run away, but the right clicks from Costa Bia look to be enough. And that Divine Rapier will drop to the deck. And that should do it for game number 1 as GGs are called. 4 Zoomers take game 1 after everybody, including us, did not. 85-15 was what Cinderin said.
What a
That is incorrect.
yeah, it was very wrong. What a game by Zoomers, though. They completely exceeded expectations. The off-lane Void, it worked out okay. He basically
Somehow.
got a little dumpstered in the lane, but not bad. He got levels, which is more important.